Welcome to episode 2, or if you're Danny, episode 3, because he doesn't like 0, of the Notion Nerds podcast. Today we're talking about navigation in Notion.
No. Navigation in Notion. Basically, we have 3 bullet points, and we're going to go over those bullet points. But as per usual, we will probably derail the conversation numerous times. But I don't know. Maybe this will be the first episode where we just go straight through the bullet points and we are sensible.
No, that's not what they subscribe to.
No, that's true. That's true. Navigation in Notion. So before we get on to the second point and start talking about tab bar, navigation in Notion typically is done by a sidebar. What are your thoughts on the sidebar in Notion, John?
You're setting up for us agreeing with each other. The sidebar is awful.
I wasn't going to say it was awful.
I
wasn't going to say it's awful. I like the sidebar.
No, you don't.
No, I don't.
No, don't even try that. Anyone who knows us knows that we don't like the sidebar. The sidebar, I find it's not rubbish. It's a clever implementation of sliding things, but
and it's used in literally like every other app. It has some sort of sidebar, but
inside.
Sorry, carry on.
But the Notion, an app that is designed to be productive and to keep you organized and to keep you not getting distracted by everything, the sidebar is a huge distraction. And so the use of the sidebar, I use it very rarely when I have forgotten to put something on the tab bar. Look at that smooth transition. Go down.
That was quick.
Seeing as you were the inventor of the tab bar, which if I say that anything otherwise, you'll cry and get upset.
I said on the last stream, because I think the last stream on YouTube, someone, who was it? It was Homesick Mac. It was like, oh, I like the tab bar thing. Like I did kind of invent it for myself, but I didn't invent it for everyone. But I don't know if someone did it before me. All I know is I made it, and then other people liked it and they started using it. So I haven't seen anyone before me use it, but the people that I've seen after me use it have used it after seeing me show it. That was a really bad explanation, wasn't it?
Yeah. But actually, I know a number of my clients don't actually like the tab bar. They it's kind of an evolution of the quick links. Like, I think Marie uses quick links, or she used to. I can't remember where I got the quick links idea from, where literally you have a link to multiple things at the top, but you've kind of taken it and turned it into a global block, which is basically Danny.
Basically me, just overcomplicating simple things. You're given a sidebar, you're given nice navigation, and Danny goes and puts links on emojis in a code block, in a global block that is spread around the space.
But it is a structured, like, it has a point. It is purposefully created and designed to make it as simple as possible to use to navigate to multiple places. However, a few of the weaknesses of this tab bar, yes, there are, is the fact that you have to build your own tab bar, like, from scratch. So, like, I don't know, have you ever set it up for a client? Do you have clients?
Do I? Oh, you low blow. Yes, I do have clients.
Low blow? You Mr. Like, if we go back through the stream of all the low blows.
But that's not on the podcast, you see. That's not on this episode. So
no, but the previous episode we're done for low blows. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, fine. You're getting your vengeance. So like the tab bar is the people that I've helped use it. It took like 20 seconds to explain how it works, and then they suddenly went from having one emoji, and they're like, "Oh, this is really cool. This is really useful." I look back like the next day, and their tab bar is like 15 emojis long, and they've linked it like everywhere, because they found one use for it, and they're like, "Oh, that's cool," and then they just like, "I can put it here and I can put it there," and it just goes everywhere. And the reason, a couple of the reasons that I prefer the tab bar over the sidebar. One is the sidebar, even though it's automatic, every single page you create goes there. So even pages that you don't actually want to have in your sidebar is there, which makes it really long, really quick. Which I understand, that's why you have the favorites tab. That makes sense. But you still have all that other stuff.
Yeah.
The sidebar also fills up like your screen real estate, like how much screen space you've got. And I recently went over Taskade as an app. I don't know whether the video will be out by the time that this podcast is live, but essentially one of my gripes with Taskade is you're given this small little like rectangle square in the middle of a random background. So you're given loads of space to view your picture, whatever that picture background is. But your actual working space is quite small because it's just like this small little island in the middle of your screen. And I'm like, give me more. Like columns, there's no such thing as columns in Taskade. I use columns everywhere in Notion. And with the sidebar, if you have the sidebar up and you use columns, some of your data is like hidden away, like you can't see the tick box, or you can't see half the words, or the calendar's too small that you can't actually see what's on the calendar. So I hide the sidebar, which is where the taskbar came from. Like I always had the sidebar hidden, and I just went over there and then just like clicked on the favorites. I'm like, why am I always going over here? Why can't I just have it on the page? Hence the tab bar. But going back to like the navigation in Notion when it comes to like the I don't want to say like it's bad navigation, but having workspace and shared and private and favorites all in the sidebar and having to work out what goes where, when your space starts getting bigger, wow, that gets complicated. Like which page do I need to go to? What section is it? Like when you've got 10, 15 workspaces that you're shared with, and you've got loads of pages that you're shared with, and you have loads of private pages and loads of favorite pages, you forget which section the page is in, or the page could be in numerous different sections. You end up like trying to navigate your navigation sidebar. Like you shouldn't have to navigate around how to navigate. That's like, that was my gripe with the sidebar. When I had so many pages, I was like, you even see it. People, when they're doing their streams or doing the videos, they're like, oh, this page, and then they spend like 30 seconds trying to find the page in the sidebar. Like, where is it? Scrolling up and down. I'm like, just have it there. Just have it there. Have it easy to find. But yeah, and it's sort of like, I guess that goes into my my areas database.
Yeah, because that's kind of navigation. That's kind of how I'm using it. For me, the areas database has turned into a navigation database where I just navigate to different, I suppose, portals into my system. Like that's how I kind of see my area. And I don't know whether you agree. I mean, we have a similar setup, but the areas database is less of an area and more of a dashboard.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just you wanted to use pants as an analogy, so you had to have it as areas rather than dashboards. But yeah, like the areas database that both you and I use are kind of dashboards.
Yeah,
you were trying to work out an analogy with the D, weren't you?
Yeah, I was. Like Dan, yeah, because D. Oh no, because we got rid of the A, haven't we? So it'd be DPNT. Yeah, no, that doesn't work.
And then you need to add another P because you've got other databases which you just ignore completely and pretend they don't exist, even though they do.
No. Navigation. No. See, I forgot what I was going to say now. I'm viciously looking at the points, and I was like, I know it's not a point on there, but I'm looking at it anyway.
We were talking about the areas database and how they're kind of like dashboards.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So,
welcome. End of the stream. Thank you very much for joining us. It's not even a stream; it's a podcast. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
Jonathan doesn't know what he's talking about. Just ignore Jonathan. He's literally just here to edit the podcast.
Oh, okay. Let me remind you of the low blow that you did earlier, that I did to you, supposedly. Nowhere near as low as this, Mr.
Me? Dishing out a low blow?
What I need to do for this podcast? Oh, I'll just show up, won't I? I'll just show up and I'll book the call. And I've noticed on our bloody template, you're the one booking the call. But whose Zoom room is this?
I think you'll find that you volunteered your Zoom room.
Only because you don't have a paid Zoom account, do you?
No, but we can still do it on my Zoom account because it's 1-on-1.
Yeah, but you can't record on your Zoom account.
Yeah, again. Yeah, suck on that. Anyway, back to the Notion point. Basically, what I do in Notion what I do now in Notion is I look at the things that I have because I've needed them, and I look at different ways I can use them. I've just thought of something that I'm like, we can tag onto that. But essentially, with my areas database, to start with, it was literally just area, and that was it. It was just something I tagged things to. I'm like, that's cool, and I didn't do anything with the area. It was just like this database that I just tagged things to because it was part of Para. It's something you needed to do, and then I realized, you know what? Let's actually make use of this page, which is when like the dashboard came in, and everything essentially that I tagged through that area, I could just filter for, which is where self-referencing filters come in. So I can have everything in my tasks database, my projects database, filtered for all different views, all in that area, and that's where the dashboard came from. And what that inevitably led to is everything I needed to know about that area was in that space. So I didn't need to go to my task database and filter from my task database for the area and then filter for the time and look at the calendar. No, there's way too much effort. I'm a lazy fucker. But I'm lazy. So I made my area into a dashboard. So I have a main dashboard, which has a tab bar. And that tab bar goes to my review page, which has my areas in it. And then all my areas is basically a sidebar of dashboards. But it's not a sidebar because it's in my page. And the reason I can't have my dashboards in the, well, I could have my dashboards in the sidebar. Like I could have my areas as pages in the sidebar, but because they're pages in the sidebar, I can't see any properties. So I can't see whether I need to review the page or not, which is why I have it as an inline database. So I can see my sidebar in my page with review tick boxes. So again, it's another functionality I have because it's in a database that I can't have if it's in a sidebar. So navigation is quick with the tab bar. This is my thought process. I don't know whether you've thought of this as well, but I have the tab bar for navigation to go to my other navigation space, which is my areas.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, because it's fast navigation. One of the big things that I wanted when I rebuilt my system, because I had a really overly complex system, we touched on it last week, which just had all the databases and too many databases and everything, which does have its use. We should do another
and breathe. For those of you listening on the audio, Jonathan was like after that sentence. He was like, "Oh my god, I need to breathe."
I am an asthmatic who talks really fast. Not a good combination.
I'm not asthmatic, but I talk really fast.
Lucky you. What was I saying?
Something about Notion.
Oh, cheers! That narrows it down.
Databases, having lots of databases.
Yeah, before, when I wanted to rebuild my system, I used to have a lot of databases, which is another episode. Please note that down.
Yes.
Thank you. That means now, not like just look at me blankly. Nah.
I'm writing a note in Notion on a Notion podcast about Notion. Meta. What note am I writing?
Fucking hell.
Oh, yeah, too many databases. Carry on.
A podcast episode is about too many databases. You're in the wrong area of Notion. It's an episode. You muppet.
I'm going to use the move to function. That's why.
You could have actually done the inline date. You could have done the inline table, that inline linking thing with Bobby. I'm a professional. You could just do the inline thing. Inline page creation. So yeah,
podcast ideas. I forgot we had that database. Yeah, carry on.
Yeah, we. God's sake, you were the one who set it up because you didn't like the way I set it up, but that's beside the point. So, getting to the point.
No, I didn't set it up like that because I'm looking at the template and the linked database isn't in the template. So
Feel better now?
Yeah.
Good. All right. When I wanted to recreate my system, which I do have a YouTube video on me rebuilding from scratch.
Wait, hold up. You have a YouTube video?
Piss off. Which is hilariously out of date now, and I'm recording a new updated one once I finish dealing with him for today.
It's a pleasure, really.
It is. Sort of.
Take seriousness out of the world. Not welcome to our conversations.
Yeah. And so when rebuilding my system, I wanted to find a way to make it as minimal movement as possible. It's a concept that I have from guitar. Wow, I managed to link Notion to guitar again. It's beautiful. We've had like 2 streams on the trot of guitar stuff.
I'm gonna say, I'm getting sick of it. I can't play any of it. Let's do a Notion stream. Let's do a Notion stream and talk about music.
It's your bloody stream.
I know.
So shut up.
Do you prefer a table or a list?
A list. I hate
Good.
tables. Like, tables have one use and one use only.
Copy and paste stuff down because you can't be asked to make the relations over and over and over.
Basically, I don't like table views. As I was saying, I keep trying to make this point, which is a really short point.
It's a really short point. You should have made it by now.
Don't interrupt me every time I try to talk, then, you asshole.
Am I really?
Yeah, really, you are.
Oh, okay.
People are just gonna be like, oh, for God's sake, skip. Get to the fucking point. And this is why you put us on 3 speed whenever you're watching an episode of the podcast. Oh my God.
What's that point you were going to make? What was that point you were going to make?
I wanted to make it as simple as possible.
You want some?
You dick.
Sorry.
Less than 2 clicks to do anything. I wanted to move as little as possible. A concept, minimal movement, concept from playing guitar, where you move as little as possible to exert the less amount of effort. For people who are watching the video, you'll see why I laughed, because there was just this humongous face of
I realised that our podcast ideas database doesn't have any properties in it, so I can't do a self-referencing filter because there's no relation. I'm going to make that now. You can carry on making your point because I don't actually know what your point was because that was like 10 minutes ago.
To recap,
what database am I relating this to? What's it called?
Such an asshole.
Episode.
Have
one, not one. Have one, not one. Right, you can carry on now. I've made the relation, and I'm now making the self-referencing filter.
So in a future episode, we're actually going to go through. I think this is one of the episodes we had. Oh, you haven't named it. You named it in the like the episode list. You've got related to, copy of, related to what?
I just made one end. I just made the one end.
Anyway,
I'm in a template right now. Okay. Stop talking about me. Stop diverting from your point that was obviously really important, and just talk.
Well, every time I try to talk about the point, you interrupt me. So.
See, you had loads of time there. You didn't say anything.
Yeah, because when I was about to say something, you interrupted me again.
No, I wouldn't interrupt you. I'd never interrupt you.
You always interrupt me.
I didn't then.
To prove a point.
Sorry?
To prove a point.
Yeah. Right, so I have made this, I've made that. What were you going to talk about?
We were talking about, like...
No, you were trying to make a point, but you weren't actually making the point.
I was trying to make a point, but you keep interrupting my point, which is not really the point of having a point, is it?
2 clicks.
Yeah.
Speed. Quick.
speed, minimal movement, moving as little as possible. Just being able to get shit done as fast as possible. And so removing the sidebar was one of the number one things, so that I want to be able to go no deeper than 2 layers on everything, to make it simple for me to keep up to date with it, to be able to navigate to any area of my Notion account in less than 2 clicks if I can.
And that's exactly what the dashboards are for. It's like I don't want to have to go in lots of different places to find what I need. So my dashboard, my first dashboard, tells me everything that I need to do for today. So I don't have to actually go into Notion for that long. I can literally open it up within 5-10 seconds, look that I've got tons of shit that I need to do, and then procrastinate, don't do. No, I go in there, and then I can see the tasks I need to do for that day, and it's all sorted in priorities. And if I need to go in further depth, I can, by clicking on the task, going through the relation to the project, and see all the information. But I don't get all of that information thrown at me at once. And then when I do need to navigate around, I don't need to sort of scroll up and down through my sidebar. It's just I click on the tab, I go to the area, and then I'm at a new dashboard that tells me all the information that I need. So if I need to know anything about YouTube, I click on my YouTube tab in my tab bar, sorted. Now I'm at a dashboard. I don't know if your tab bar is similar to mine, but my tab bar quick links typically go to other dashboards. So essentially, I have all of my high up dashboards linked through a tab bar.
Yeah, I'm the same.
So I go from dashboard to dashboard to dashboard, with the core information being stored in my tasks, projects, and notes database.
Yeah. Do you have a global blocks area?
No, I only have one global block, which is my tab bar. And I don't need to use the link because it's in my template.
Interesting.
What other global blocks do you use?
I'm going to go look because I don't know.
This is where he realizes he has loads of global blocks hidden away that he never uses, just like the databases that he's just got rid of.
I have 2. So I have the daily themes like table that I have, because I like seeing that in multiple views. So I have it in my home, and then I have it in kind of like, oh, that's funny, I don't need it anymore. I've just got rid of the weekly planner. It was put in the template, so I don't actually need it anymore. I love that. So I've recently changed my space and removed some extra. It was a big part of my original system, but I've streamlined it and simplified it because of implementing the dashboards. I don't really need to see things week by week. I can see things just literally whenever I want to see them. Another really useful kind of thing by having these, like having only one page that is your home dashboard, is if you only need to favorite one page. And this means you can, thank you. And this means you can use Control 1 or Command 1 to literally jump back to the dashboard, because the Control and Command 1, 2, 3, 4 switches to different workspaces. But when you switch back, your first favorite is yes, and Danny's going to go really annoyed if I don't say he came up with that idea. Yes.
I didn't come up with it. I just told you about it.
Yeah, and it's a really good idea, and it's another way of making navigation really fast, because most of the time I want to stay on my home dashboard and I don't want to be anywhere else, because all I need for the day, all of the tasks I need to get done for today, all of the all of the things I've captured that I need to sort out, all of like my meetings for this week, today and tomorrow, are on this home dashboard. I don't need to go anywhere else unless I'm jumping into a project for a client. And so it just makes it easier to go, okay, so what am I doing right now? If you get to that point in the day where you're like, right, I suppose I better get some work done. Where do I go? Control or Command 1 if you're on Mac. And you know exactly what needs to get done. And you can just go through the list as quickly as possible and then get on with the rest of your day, whether that be consuming YouTube videos obsessively.
That's me.
Yeah, or spending time with your family like me, or just messing around in Notion, creating new ideas just to play with, like both of us. Like that's what it's all about.
Who does that more?
At the it's I don't know. I don't really know. I don't time how much time I'm messing around in Notion.
No, I'm curious. Like with your, so for those of you that didn't listen to the last episode, we were talking about dummy pages and play pages and experimenting and stuff. And you mentioned that you have a play area for your team, you and your team. What triggers you to play with something like in Notion? Is it you saw a video, you're like, oh, that's cool, I'm going to try that out? Or do you think of a formula, or do you think of a use case or a problem, or what makes you play with Notion? I have so many different ideas that I'm not going, right, what should I play with in Notion? It's what should I play with next?
Yeah, it's like, okay, cool, so I've done this, and oh, that's a really nice idea. Like I frequently make notes on ideas I have, and then I'm like, this is a cool idea. I'm gonna just mess around with that for a bit. Often it's very natural. I'm not like going, this is my play day and I'm gonna play with Notion on this day. And it's very like you, very natural. It's like I see something, I'm like, how can I do that? That's often what instigates the play page. It's like, I wonder if I could like remake ClickUp in Notion. I wonder if I could remake this in Notion. I wonder if I could do that in Notion. I wonder if this is possible. Is it possible? Yes, of course it's bloody possible. Should you do it? Probably not.
Always comes back to that. Can you do it? Yes. Should you do it? Not necessarily. So when you're grabbing your notes, do you put that in your notes database or do you put that in your play page? Because like I see 3 different ways of doing this. You could either take the note and put it in the play page straight away. You could take the note, put it in your notes database, and then tag it with play page, because if play is an area in your space, then it will show up in your linked database and notes anyway. Or what I actually do now is I just make a template in my free template, I generate one of the templates in my free examples database on my public page and just have it as in progress.
Yeah, I just have, like, at the moment, I don't have, like, most of my experimental stuff is really niche specific stuff, so I don't really publish them. I will do eventually. I just
have you seen my examples page? I have a whole template example on a formula, just one formula that gives you the week beginning of a date. Literally, you put in any date and it gives you the week beginning.
See, that sounds really useful, but what he didn't mention is the fact that he also has another template where he makes Mario and Luigi
within line maths. But it's like, so it's what the way I see my free examples basically they are things that I could do. They are things that I've created that could be useful, but I don't know when. So the ability to work out the week beginning date from a date property in a formula became really useful when I was doing my weekly agenda. I had no use for that formula whatsoever. But working through that process, because it was a cool idea and a fun idea, I could then import, essentially just copy paste that formula into a larger formula later on, which is what we spoke about last episode with my weekly agenda and the formula fuck ups. Alliteration. But like I think I've said it in a video. I can't remember whether I recorded it or published it. I can't remember. But I know a lot in Notion, and I know a lot about Notion, but I don't use most of it. Like most of the stuff I know Notion can do, I don't use it because it's not needed. Like backlinks, I know how they work, but I am not using them. Inline page creation, I know how it works, but I don't use them. Most of the formulas, I know how formulas work and how you can do things, but I don't use them. And the weekly agenda, it's a template. It's one of my most popular templates, one of the most popular videos, but I don't use it because I don't use a board view. I know how you could do it. I know you can do it.
I made a weekly agenda.
Actually, I stole it from Marie. Well, I didn't steal it from Marie. I saw Marie do it with a board view and I was like, I don't like that. I don't like it in a board view. How can I turn it into a calendar? So for those of you that haven't seen the template, essentially, you can see a weekly view of the things you've got to do in the board. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday in the board view. But you can also see the monthly view in a calendar. And when you drag the task across in the board view, it also drags it across in the calendar. So that's the template. And that sounds really easy, but Notion doesn't have a weekly view. That would be nice, having a weekly view, but it doesn't have one. So a board view is the closest you can get. If you don't want to see your week in a calendar, I personally see my week in a calendar because I find it easier. But that's me. That's my preference. And then when it comes down to navigation, it's also, I don't know if you're the same, like navigation with a board view v calendar view. Like when you click in the page, obviously it's the same thing. You click on the page, you still get the properties, you still get the data. But I find because a calendar, you're seeing more things, it's easier to navigate. Like if I wanted to see next week's stuff and I'm using a board view, I then have to go to the next week's board view. Whereas in a calendar, I can just click straight through.
Yeah, I never really liked the calendar. Like I hadn't been using it. I wanted to test it out because I find there's just too much information. Like I don't like it, doesn't look very nice. And I didn't like how it looked. But since experimenting with my meetings database, and I'm actually looking at my meetings database now, which is in this week's calendar view, I found that really handy. Most of the time I'm in the today column, which is just a list, which shows like my little info panel, which shows me exactly what I need to see. Nothing more, nothing less. But when I want to plan ahead, like for example, my VA puts all of my events from my Google Calendar into Notion, and she just switches to the week view, and just switches to the week view, and she's just like boom, 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 done, 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 done. Assign the template, off you go, and it's very quick and very fast to add more events. So I'm finding it really like useful to have that calendar view for planning ahead versus kind of right now.
Yeah, and that's, I guess that's kind of like how my space works. It's because all of my dashboards, like my dashboards are so similar all the way across my space. At the top, you'll have the notes, which is what I'm doing right now, like notes I've just taken and notes I need to action. My planning in the main dashboards, the planning section, which is like actionable things I've got to do, but it's just sort of like notes. And in my main dashboard, I have my tasks, which are like actionable right now. This is what I got to do. And then every other dashboard has calendars. In my main dashboard, I have one calendar for my events for tasks, which is an overall view. And then in my other dashboards, I have projects and tasks, which are overall views of projects and tasks. So I don't really have this is what I'm doing next day, this is what I did yesterday. I don't have the couple of days thing. It's this is what I'm doing today. This is what I'm planning for the next month.
Yeah.
Because I don't find seeing my week helpful. Because I know roughly what I'm doing in the week. So I don't find seeing the week granularly helpful. If I'm seeing week compared to week, I can go, okay, like in 2 weeks' time, I've got loads of stuff. Maybe I should bring that stuff to next week because that's not as much. But if I can't see 2 weeks in time, I can't see that I need to move those things around. So the week view is mainly like a daily view. Have I got too much today? Do I not have much the next day? But if I'm working, am I actively working on today's tasks? I'm making those decisions anyway. So why would I need to plan out a week if I'm making those decisions right now, today, anyway?
Yeah, and that's a conclusion I came to when I got rid of my weekly agenda, because I was spending more time in the planning, like in my different dashboards, like the content dashboard, my learning dashboard. Like I spent more time in those dashboards because one, I could access them really quickly. Two, once I implemented the area or dashboard section of my Notion, it became effortless to plan. Like I didn't need to go in week by week. I didn't care about having to assign the week, and it just became like a stopping point for planning. Once you, and this kind of brings quite nicely on to another point. When you're building your Notion account, you don't know what you don't need until you don't need it. And every time you make changes and just test things out, if it's better, switch. Like if it is better for you, if you're finding a kind of stopping point, which you're like, this doesn't feel right, I don't like it. Especially when you use other people's templates. So say, for example, you buy mine or you buy Danny's templates. Like when you buy those templates, sometimes there are aspects of it which you don't like. So most of the time you can just get rid of them because it's not necessary for your own needs. Use the templates. If you do use templates, I'm very much a believer of kind of using them as a framework and a guide.
learn from, build out of.
Learn from, build from, work through. Like, okay, cool. I really liked this. I really didn't like this. And then you can take the kind of main frameworks, because to be honest, most templates are 4 to 5 databases, and that's about it. I think you agree with that one.
Yep. I mean, it's not even that. Like a lot of templates that you see are like 2 databases, and they've just got a relation, a couple of roll-ups, and they've just made it look nice. But if you don't like the aesthetic, or you're going to change the aesthetic, or you've already got those databases in your space, they're just different names, you don't really need the template. I mean, so for both of us, I would imagine we can look at a template and recreate it in a couple of minutes. Like it wouldn't take long. So what I think is more effective when it comes to navigation, when it comes to building in Notion, isn't taking templates, it's learning how to build those templates. Because if you can build the template, you can change it and adapt it to what works for you, how that works for you. And when it comes to like the navigation aspect of Notion inside of templates, most templates it's just one page. But if it's just one page and then you have lots of different templates, now you've suddenly got 10 pages in your sidebar. But inside those pages, you have the pages that are in those templates. And a lot of those things are going to cross over. And this is something that I don't know whether Jade's my sister. I don't know whether she's going to listen to the podcast or not. But I was talking to her yesterday, and she had 3 different databases, and she had module as a drop-down list, as a select column in 3 different databases. And I said to her, why don't you just make a module database and relate it to them? That way, you don't have to put the same information in so many times, and you also have access to all the module information, which can be a dashboard. And she was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And if you're duplicating loads of templates, guaranteed you're going to have crossovers. You're going to have projects probably turn up 3-4 times. You'll probably have tasks turn up like every single time, because every template's got tasks in it at some point. And if you've already got a task database, you don't need another task database. Like you've already got it. To work out how the template's made and go, oh, okay, how can I implement that in my system? And that's how I've kept a lot of my databases minimal. Like I don't have tons and tons and tons of them. I've expanded out in different areas because there are specific nuanced use cases in my space, because I'm using Notion for so much that I can't use projects for. Like people, I didn't have a people's database, but I need some sort of client dashboard, which means I needed another database. I could have people in my areas database because essentially they're the same thing. But then you start thinking like the interactions between notes and people, areas and people, because you're going to have a self-relation to the areas and the peoples. So it was just easier, made more sense to have another database. But when it comes to, this is a point that I was going to come up with, like in my notes database, multiple use cases. In my notes database, I have a URL that links me to wherever the note is, whether it's a Twitter post or a LinkedIn post, a Facebook post, an Instagram post, a YouTube video, a blog post, whatever, the URL, and it takes me back there. When it comes to testimonials are also notes. But testimonials don't have a URL because they're just screenshots, screen grabs. So I can use the URL property as a filter property for my testimonials.
Yeah.
So it saved me making a whole database for testimonials, because all I need to do is just put write testimonial in the URL property and then filter for testimonial.
Yeah. And it's really, I implemented that as well. And it's just like, oh, this is great. One less database to worry about.
And the less databases and the less pages you have, the less there is to navigate around and through.
Yeah. It's about simplification. Like you want to make, I think we mentioned this in the previous episode or the first episode, who the hell knows anymore? Like you want to make it as easy as possible to use so that it becomes invisible. I'm ignoring you. It becomes invisible so that Notion, unless you're like us, unless you're a Notion nerd, you don't really care about Notion, and you shouldn't. Notion should be in the background. And if you're interested in learning more about Notion, you can learn more about Notion. But otherwise, I'm very sorry I'm boring you.
Oh, I told you, I'm busy. It's a busy day. And like, yeah, it's a busy day. But it's a really good point that you're making, Karen.
Thanks. Cheers, I feel so much better.
No, it's like when because I'm like, previously I was never tired during the day, but I never really like had stuff to do. And like this is a pro of Notion. This is not, well, it could be a con, but I always know what to do. There's never a point where I can go, what should I be doing right now? Like you could probably relate to this. Well, you may be able to relate to this, but like doing an essay, you don't want to do the essay. So what you do is you find everything else in the house to do. So you're like, I'm going to clean this. I'm going to do this washing. I'm going to do this drying up. I'm going to hoover every corner of my room, because you don't want to do that thing. And to get your brain working, to get your brain started, you need to be doing something similar. And if you've got a list of things that you could do that are similar, then you can just get in that workflow. And that's what I do. It's one of like that, I guess is one of the like the hidden hacks of my to-do list, is that I have question mark tasks at the bottom of my to-do list. And the reason I have them there is not because they put me off. It's because if I'm in a really crappy mood, I'm like, I really can't be asked to edit this video, or I can't be asked to record this video, I can't be asked to have this meeting, whatever. I'll look at the question mark task and be like, that's a fun task. And I'll just start doing that, and it'll get me in the work mood. And after 10 minutes, because it's a short task, I've done the task, I've ticked it off, and then I can just look at that list again, top to bottom, and be like, actually, that one piques my interest. And I'll go with that, and I'll go with that. And then, so I've started the work process. And I'm going to link this back to the yawning, because today I woke up and I looked at the task and thought, I don't want to do all of that stuff. So I did a couple of things and responded to a couple of people. And then I started doing some more work. And then by the time we got on the first call, which was 4 hours ago, was it 4 hours ago? Oh no, 3 hours ago. Yeah. But like by the time I got on the first call, my brain was already in like Notion mode, work mode, thinking, talking. Like I was all up and ready to go. It wasn't like I've got to do this podcast episode. It was I'm ready, I'm good to go, which is why like I had so much energy. And now, because I've been doing it, so like we've been doing this for a while, my brain's like, we're so good, and I've been focused for so long. I've been in the flow state for like 3 hours, just going at it, talking and going at it. It's like when you're playing games, like at the end of the day, when you come home from school, you put Minecraft on, you're like, oh, it's 10 o'clock, I'll just play for an hour. Look at the clock, it's 4 a.m, I'm going to school in 6. I'm going to school, like, I've got my first lesson in 6 hours or whatever. Like, that's how this podcast feels like. Like, that's how work feels like. I'm not working. I'm playing, but I'm doing work that I enjoy. I know some people can't do that, and they're probably like in the car on their way to their job, or they're sitting at home like, I need to do these pieces of paper and these forms. But same thing, I like as a YouTuber, there's still loads of behind the scenes work that's not fun. Timestamps is one that sticks out. If you think timestamps is easy and fun and quick, you can sod right off. Like, they are not fun, but there's stuff I've got to do. SEO, I make SEO fun. Like, I make the boring tasks fun. Money, AdSense, you've got to go through all of that stuff. Affiliate marketing, like talking backwards and forwards with brand deals and sponsorships and the rest of it. It's not fun doing emails backwards and forwards, like email spam. Everyone deals with email spam. But doing those tasks that are fun beforehand, that get you into the work mode, get you into the flow mode. The flow mode, I like that. Flow mode.
Flow mode.
But when you're in that flow mode, that flow state, you sort of forget that you don't like doing the thing, and you just do it. And then you realize, oh, wait, I've done that boring stuff already. And I'm now doing stuff that I enjoy just because it's related to it. And then you're like, oh, I'm done for today. And it's like 1:15. And you're like, oh, wait, I should probably have lunch, which is why my stomach's grumbling right now. It's like, I should probably have lunch. And then after lunch, I can then do either the rest of the tasks I need to do or have fun and play.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, motivation doesn't exist. Everyone needs to get up that motivation to start doing my tasks for the day. Well, that doesn't exist. You'll never get things done. If you just have a list right in front of you saying, okay, I need to finish this template, I need to finish creating this portal, I need to finish this video, I need to finish this, like set up this portal for someone. I've done those tasks, and then it's like, cool, what's next? You know? And it's, I've got this workshop, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. And then once you've done it, you're free. And so Notion can get out of your way. Or if you're as nerdy as we are, Notion will just dive into another area of oblique and weird Notion stuff that we do. But it's about like getting into that flow state. It's an actual thing.
It is a thing. It's not something we've made up.
No. And once it's about like starting, because that's the hard part. It's just getting started. It's getting up in the morning, coming downstairs and going, I spent way too long playing a game last night. I drank way too much. What were you playing?
Oh no, it's just like me a couple of years ago. Every single morning I'd wake up and like, I'm so tired.
Yeah. And so you can wake up you can have the fun you want to have, but then you come into Notion and Notion's like, okay, cool, here you go. This is what you got to do today. Oh, sweet. All right, cool.
I was going to say, and to sort of labor on that point a little bit, build Notion for your worst day.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah. Hands down. Like I have
build
seen
Notion for your worst day. Imagine you're hungover, you feel awful, you probably made loads of regrettable mistakes during the night before, and you realize I have like loads of professional meetings that I need to do and get done, and I have loads of tasks that I don't like that I need to do. And you're like, okay, this is an awful day. This is going to be an awful day. And then you look at Notion and you realize, right, I've got 30 things in my sidebar. Where am I going? What am I doing? Nah.
I'm out. Yeah, make it like the big issue I have with other Notion templates is that they are designed for people they're designed for your best days. Like, okay, cool. Let me come down here. I'm gonna do my, I'm gonna look at my learning hub, and I'm gonna look at this and look at this and look at this and look at this to be really inconspicuous and not specify any person in particular. But it happened. Daddy's like, let me out of my. And
release the animal.
No, it's about trying to make it work for you in your worst possible state. Like, I could build a really detailed, in-depth system with multiple different avenues of working, of like different structures and making sure that I'm completing. Like, I could have all of those workflows.
WTFP. What's the fucking point?
Precisely. And honestly, when I come in and I'm not feeling very well, or I've just had to deal with like a 2-hour meeting with the school about one certain child, like, I'm not going to come in here and want to go through my daily routine, my step-by-step process to get things started. I just want to come in, get my shit done, and go sit and play a video game for a good couple of hours, or just spend some time with my kids messing around. I don't want to work.
So I'm curious then, do you have a morning and night routine?
No.
Me either. Do you have an exercise routine?
No.
Me either. No. Do you have a Pomodoro timer in your Notion for when you're working?
I hate Pomodoro with a vengeance. I think it's absolutely pointless, because what it's doing is it's taking me out of the flow state and telling me to break. I will break when my body will tell me. We've had this discussion before, haven't we? I will take a break when I need to take a break. My body can tell me when I need to take a break.
And that's it. Like, auto-regulation is something that's spoken about in a lot of literature, whether it's sport or psychology, whatever. Like, your body is built to tell you stuff. Like, if you're hungry, you feel hungry. If you're thirsty, you feel thirsty. If you don't want to do something, your body will tell you don't want to do it. If you're doing something and you're actively doing something, your body won't go, we need to take a break if you don't need a break. You just keep going. So it's so much easier to listen to your body, in my opinion. Obviously, some people may need triggers and things to help them out. But what I found is
the triggers are where you put them in Notion. Like, if you can build this is the crux of building in Notion. Build your triggers into Notion and make your triggers appear as fast and as easily and as quick as possible.
Ideally, in your dashboard.
in your dashboard, in your main page, in the page that you come in and go, open it up. These are the triggers. I need to do this now. These are some ideas that I have captured that I might want to work on. These are the daily tasks I need to do today. I need to make sure I've done this. I have these meetings. And then after that, I can do whatever the hell I want. Because at the end of the day, like, we're not here to work all the time. If you're someone who owns a business and you work for yourself, you didn't do this to work a 9-to-5 job. Now, you can work for as long and as late as you want. I'm a great believer in having your own time when you want to work, when works for you, self-regulation, same thing again, like, stop trying to follow another way of working, because it won't work. You do not need to be more motivated. You do not need to just fix your life. Your life is your life, and you damn well use it however you like. This podcast episode is fucking fire, isn't it, really?
I'm bouncing all over the place. So something that I find ironic, right, is a lot of entrepreneurs, which are essentially, I imagine, are a lot of the people that will listen to this, entrepreneurs or business owners, business people, individuals and teams. Like, most of those people chose this route to get away from high up, people in charge, or routines, 9-to-5s. They wanted to be in control. And being in control, they suddenly go, oh, right, let's put loads of routines in. Routines, definitely useful. Don't get me wrong. But when you're adopting routines from other people, or adopting routines that you don't need, or adopting routines that aren't actually helping you, all you're doing is you're putting yourself back in the same situation that you're trying to get out of.
Yeah.
It's like, let's do a half-hour morning routine. Let's do a half-hour evening routine. Why? If it helps, great. If it doesn't, don't do it.
Yeah, and also make your own routine. Like, the best way to find out how to work best is that's the point of templates. That's the point of Notion templates. That's the point of Notion videos. That's the point of every single thing that I create and do, whether free or sold. It is to help you find your way so that you can build your own system your way. The problem with many other apps and tools like Asana and Trello,
pick up, Todoist, Evernote.
Yeah, the whole thing. All right. Calm down. I know you've been struggling. I understand that. I know that you've been dealing with that recently, and it's okay. As I was saying, the point of the other apps is the one workflow that works for a certain amount of people. That's what niching is. I'm waiting for you. And the problem with other apps that aren't Notion and Coda to an extent, and Roam, they're all about building what works for you in a workflow that works for you. Whereas kind of like the traditional task managers and project managers, they're about working a certain way.
Basically, anything that boxes you, I don't like. Yeah, pretty much. And for those of you that are listening to the podcast, you may have seen the first stream. Depends on when this goes live. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to stream me doing looking at other apps. And I can guarantee, I haven't done any of these yet, but I can guarantee something I'm going to consistently say is too restricted. I want more. Give me more. Columns in Notion, such a small thing. Coda doesn't have columns. Restricted. Roam doesn't have columns. Yes, it has another bounce out page. So when I'm exploring that, maybe that'll work. But columns help you see everything in a dashboard. When you look at a dashboard in a car, you have circles, which are essentially columns. Different bits of information in one space. You don't have to go scrolling up and down to find stuff. I'm becoming a really But yeah, you don't have to scroll all over the place to try and find stuff. You don't have to click through to find places and find different things. It's all there. It's one page, find it, dashboard. That's what it's for. And what I imagine with a lot of the other boxed out apps is you have to one, know your space. You have to know where everything is. You can't just go into it and go, okay, that's all the information, bye. But you have to go and find the information. And when you're processing and you're working through things, I mean, like I say, I haven't explored these apps yet as talking right now, but when planning information out. If you can't plan information out on one page and you have to bounce between 2 different pages, which is what I had to do in Taskade, it's not fun. Like, I can plan. So actually, Jonathan, I have planned every single piece of content up until the 25th of October, and I planned it all. So that is 4 posts a day for 3 weeks. I planned all of that. So I got the note. I turned it into a project. I've made all of the tasks for those projects. I made that in half an hour.
Yeah.
I spent half an hour making essentially 4 weeks worth of content. And I don't have to do anything. All I have to do is just listen to my dashboard and do the tasks.
Yeah.
I have not worked out a way in other apps, but like I say, haven't tried other apps that much. I haven't worked out a way to be able to do that quickly. Yes, you may be able to work it out, like make those that quickly. But all of that stuff is related. So when a task comes up, if I've forgotten what that note is, I can go to the task, go to the project, go to the note, and that note is related to the higher note. So I'm going to go like way. Basically, this is what happens in my system when I'm going hierarchy, right? So I have a task on my dashboard. That task is related to the project. So I can go into the project, and that project is related to the note. So I can go into the note, and that note is related to the other note, which is related to another note, which is related to the resource. So I have that whole backlinking trail already set and done. And I don't have to think about it. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to set anything up. It's all done. And all of that is automatic with Notion. Yes, you could probably do it in Roam. I haven't worked out a system to do that because I haven't explored Roam. But it means I can create everything really, really quickly. And if I need to go back anywhere, I can do that because it's already done for me. I don't think that I know of there are many other apps out there that you can do that. But I'm willing to be challenged.
Yeah.
I'm open-minded. I'm going to explore and try and find stuff. And that's where navigation comes back in. I'm going to bring it all back round in circles. Like navigation, if it can be quick, convenient, and organized, which are my 3 things for a system. If it's quick, convenient, and organized, you're good. If your navigation is quick, convenient, and organized, so is your system.
Yeah.
And your navigation is such a big part of your system.
Yeah. And it goes back to kind of for me with how I learned guitar and how I taught guitar before. Like, I have the instrument out in front of me, and what I used to say to all of my students was, have your instrument out on a stand all the time. Because if you see it, you don't have to open the case, pull it up, and take it out, and then tune it. Blah, 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 blah. Always keep your instrument tuned and in front of you, because then when the feeling takes control, kind of thing, you can just immediately go around and do it. Like, I have a task on here which is playing, like practicing a piano piece. My piano is in here. It takes 2 seconds to do this, and then I can play. It's easy. It's effortless. Could I actually use this space better? Could I have a second desk behind me? Of course I bloody could. And yes, it probably would be really useful to not have to cram everything on this desk. But as piano is important to me, and I want to keep learning and want to keep working on it, it is there. So it serves as a reminder. And then that reminder is supported by my daily tasks.
It's going to be so meta.
In my dashboard.
So meta, but like your environment, setting up your environment is like setting up your navigation in the real world.
Oh, deep. That's deep. That's real deep. That's deep. That's deep shit right there. Deep shit.
You should be paying for this.
And talking about today's sponsor. No, no one would sponsor us.
It's going to sponsor us.
No one. Wow. An hour. We have got on one hell of a rant today.
Is that really?
Yeah, it's an hour, this episode. I think we're going to split this one up. We might have to.
Well, no, because the last episode was like an hour 10, wasn't it?
Yeah, but yeah. Oh, yeah, good point. Thinking about it, this also includes our beginning bits, which are ridiculous. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so I guess that's actually a fairly good place to finish it then. Yeah. Cap it out. Live streams being 2 hours, potentially 3, and the podcast being about an hour.
Yeah, sounds good. Well, probably about 50 minutes if we cut the things down.
Sounds good.
Thank you very much for joining us for another episode of the Notion Nerd podcast. Please like and do all the things you've got to do.
You were going to say like and subscribe, and then you realise you don't subscribe on a podcast.
Look, like, shush. Please, because this is like professional stuff that we have to do because we are.
Leave a review.
That's it. That's the one. Leave a review. Tell us what you think. Get in touch with us.
And be honest. If you think it's crap, tell us it's crap.
Yeah, please, so that we don't waste any more time doing this than we need to.
And if you say it's crap, I don't care. Just don't listen. But yeah, anyway. Constructive criticism, of course, is open.
Yeah. Thank you very much. And you can reach both of us on Twitter at Danny Hatcher and Notion Biz, B-I-Z. And we'll see you in the next episode.
Because you're lost.